So I know how to make a single print artwork. That's pretty straightforward. But how do you make a print series? I want to make a print series, and I have a style of prints that I want to make. They're going to be slogan prints mixed with a simple but punchy illustration on each one. Slogans are some of the most powerful graphic art, and I think I'm thinking here of maybe Jeremy Deller's work, who's one of my favourite artists. But slogans are also really difficult to get right, because the thing about slogans is they need to feel authentic, otherwise they come across really cringy really fast. And so if you're going to include slogans in an artwork, it has to sort of feel true to you. It has to work for your style of art, or what you're going to juxtapose the slogan with if you're going to use an illustration, which we are. So if the slogans are going to feel authentic, what exactly are my slogans going to look like? Well, before we go any further, if you'd like to hear more about what I'm up to, sign up at the link below and you might just get a little something for free. We here at Liam O'Neill Industries, we subscribe to a kind vibes philosophy. We like things to be, as the Americans say, just peachy. We like to dream big and we like to think bold. And above all, we like to encourage people to stay weird. The thing about a print series is, the artworks in the series, they have to share some DNA. They need to look alike, but also different enough that if someone wanted to buy a couple of them to put on their wall, they could put them up together and you could tell they were from the same artist. So how do we get that right? I've got a couple of things that are going to help me do this. Number one, same guy drawing them, me. Whether or not we know or realise it, we all have like a very individual style of drawing, and if you're drawing a set of artworks, they're going to share a lot of similarities without you really trying. We've got that going for us. That drawing style is like a handwriting, but for artists. Number two, the same visual style. If you're going to draw them and then add effects to your artworks, make sure that the effects all use the same settings or are very similar across the whole artwork series. That will help. Number three, finally, complementary colour palette. If you're not going to use the same colours for all of them, then use a set of colours that works really well together. So if you put any two of those colours together, they'll look good. That helps when people are thinking about hanging these things on the wall. They don't have to worry about if that's going to work with that. At the moment with this channel, I'm aiming for weekly videos. I'm not quite getting there yet because I'm still learning and getting faster, but I am aiming for a weekly video. And these need to be good prints, ones you'd want to hang on the wall. But they also need to be pretty straightforward if I'm going to do 5 in a week alongside everything else that I have to do, such as making the video you're watching now and a full-time job. So I really like the style of like a simple illustration paired with a big bold hand-drawn type. I think juxtaposing the illustration against the slogan, sort of giving a little visual to the slogan, can make it look big, make it look punchy, and I just think it'll help it stand out on a wall. So the first thing that I tend to do when I'm designing prints is I will really quickly, just really small, sketch up some basic layouts. Where are they going to sit on the page? Where does the illustration go? Where does the text and the slogan go? Where is that all going to live in relation to each other? We want the layouts to be similar but not the same, so we probably aim for like 5 layouts here, 5 slightly different layouts. Once I've figured out 5 layouts I'm going to use, I'll really quickly pencil them out just to figure out individual lettering, where does that go, what is the illustration sort of going to look like. Just rough sketches here, and we're just going to work out, you know, the illustration and the letter shapes. With the way that I work, I try to do this bit as fast as possible. We're not going for 100% accuracy here, more sort of like first thought, best thought style. We're going to refine down later on. Okay, and the next stage after this is we're going to ink them. I say ink because we're using an iPad. We're going to use the pen style of brushes now. We're going to finalise the print images themselves, so we'll get all of the shapes for all the letters, get all of the shapes of the illustrations really dialed in perfect, and get them all as one colour prints. So we'll get them all as one colour prints, and then we can use these single colour prints later to stylize the images that we want to make. Now this bit can be a bit of a long process because you're really trying to refine those lines and those edges and tidy up the shapes and get them presentable. So the shapes here will most likely be the final ones, and it's a good time to put a bit more effort in so you're not stuck tidying them up later. Now we've got our single colour prints, we're going to have a little play around with a halftone effect. So we'll have a single colour print version, and then I'm going to duplicate that single colour print and I'm going to create a halftone version of that image. We'll use this halftone version to add texture when we take it into Illustrator. The way that I like to work in Illustrator when I'm creating prints is have the artboards next to each other. Because if you're creating a series, seeing the artworks all lined up in a row, you can just visually tell if they're going to work together or not. And using complementary colours that have a similar saturation, you're doing a similar effect across each one. So we've got light, mid and dark colours for each palette. Once we've got our artworks all worked up, what we will do is we'll head up to File and then export them, and then we'll head up to File, we'll go to export them, and you want to export them pretty high res, so we're talking like 400 dpi, 300 dpi. That just means that when the vendor that you've chosen is going to come and print them, that they're going to be high enough quality that they'll turn out really nicely when printed. If you go too low, you can get pixelation and it can just start to look really bad really fast. So we want to just not worry about that at all and get them high res as possible, 300, 400 dpi at about A4, A3. That should be fine really, as long as you're not printing them at A0. If you are looking to print them at A0, then export them at 300 dpi at A0. I'm also at this stage going to use those single colour prints and create just a simple gradient version of each one as well. So people might like the style of the image, but they may not like the print look, and they may want a sort of pretty flat but like a nice calm gradient image, something like that. So at this point you can start to like do different versions of the series and see which ones you like the best. If you like them all, you can put them all up and have 2 series for the price of 1. And I think that's probably what I'm going to do here. I'm going to create 1 series which is like a printy halftone style, and then a second series which is just a bit simpler gradient on a nice pale background. Okay, we've exported our artworks, they're ready to go. What next? How do we get them online and turn them into products? So what I've done here is I created a Printify account, and then I've connected that to a new Etsy shop that I created. What that means is that when I create my products on Printify, upload my high-res artworks to there, I can then select all of the different size prints that I want to offer, and then I can size them all individually, make sure that they look good on each different size. And once I fill in all the product details, all of the tags, the title, the info on it, all I have to do then is hit publish, and those will go straight over to Etsy and be published on my Etsy shop. So that's one thing that I don't have to worry about, is I don't have to worry about creating a product and then listing that product on Etsy. It'll do that automatically, so that is quite handy. And now I have an Etsy shop with 10 live prints, 1 series, 2 versions of the series, 10 live prints with lots of different size options and price options for each one, trying to hit all different sections. And there we go. I've turned a couple of the artworks from this print series into phone backgrounds and desktop backgrounds. And if you'd like them for free, sign up in the link below. Thanks. Have a great week.